One time I put in for Wasatch 100, and they were doing the lottery, and I was listening to it I was on a run, and they said, "You got in. You got in pretty quick."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm running, and they're like, "Mick," and I'm like, "Jurnik," and I'm like,
You.
"Thank God." No, I'm just kidding. My heart rate was through the roof.
Welcome back to the next aid station. I'm your host, Jake Kilgore. With me, my co-host, Michael J. Garrison. Mick, good morning, sir.
How are you, buddy?
I am well. So before we get started, quick shout out to our sponsors, Rockstar, lovely live recovery energy drink. Cheers, mate.
Oh, thank you.
And of course, DC Peaks, 25K, 55K, and home of the 50 miler here in Davis County, Utah. And I think everyone who's listening, I don't care if you're trail running, you're driving to work, maybe you're shaving your head and grooming your beard this morning, you need to stop what you're doing. And we would like you to just give a quick comment and review about the podcast, because that's how we get noticed and that's how our podcast will grow. Everyone asks you to share, like, all that, right? But we need a little bit of love. We need the podcast to grow just a little bit and create a little bit of awareness. So if you could just stop and take a second, give us a review, that would be awesome. In fact, we don't even care if you give us a 1-star review, do we, Mick?
In fact, this morning when I was in the shower shaving my head, I hit a quick like on last week's podcast.
Nice.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah. Just while you're showering, boom,
Yep.
hit it. Okay, perfect. This week we are excited because big race in Utah. I think it's spread outside of Utah, but certainly in Utah, it is right up there with one of the best 50 milers. Maybe not the best, but it's one of the best.
It's good.
We have the Squaw Peak 50 miler, don't we, Mick?
We do have the Snow Peak 50 miler.
Yes, we also have the Squaw Peak 50 miler. Same day as
Snow Peak.
Yeah.
Have you ever climbed up to Snow Peak?
Nope.
Hmm.
A few years ago, I climbed up to the top of Squaw Peak, though.
Oh, I did that on repeat at the Rufa.
There you go.
I went once.
So I did the repeats one time.
Yeah.
So for those that are not aware, the Squaw Peak 50 miler has been running for at least 25 years. Could be 30. 20 plus, we'll go with 20, 25 years plus. And this year, the name change. I don't know.
You don't like it?
Yeah, I'm more of a purist, you know?
Like Bountiful Braves?
Yeah. Why we got to go Bountiful Redhawks? I am actually partially Native American, and I am not offended. I am more offended when you take away my name and my heritage for a bird.
I am not, so I can't say anything. I'll get canceled.
So since you're not Native American, you cannot have an opinion.
Nope.
Yep. And I don't want it on this podcast, so hold it. So I refer to it as Squaw Peaks because I'm a purist.
Okay.
Mick, my non-Native American friend,
Snow Peaks. Let's
Snow
go.
Peaks. And
And
those...
I think that's fitting for that race.
True, because it seems about every third year, this year, 2 years in a row, the course has been altered due to the snow at the peak. So it is, for a couple of DC Peaks guys, a little ironic that snow is changing the course recently more years than not at the Snow Peaks, Squaw Peaks 50 miler. Last year, record-breaking snows in Utah. Most snow in, I don't know, my lifetime.
Ever, bro.
History of snow. In the history of snow.
In the history of Snow Peak and all the years before that, that was the most.
The history of the Squaw Peak and snow peak.
Mm-hmm.
So last year they did an out and back. This year, not a lot of snow. Utah standards. However, last minute change as of like a couple days ago, race director sent a message out. It is an out and back. Slightly different than last year's out and back, is my understanding. I didn't run it last year. I'm not running it this year. And I'm glad because I'm not doing
Oh, that's rough.
the SP50 out and back. And I understand people are not very happy about it.
What does that look like for the course? Do you know?
I don't know what it looks like, but I can't imagine it getting more than 5,000 feet of gain.
If that's true, that is very different from what they're normally doing out there.
And it will completely change our predictions with no climbing, no steep, gnarly descents on the backside. That stuff is so fun. That course is awesome.
Are they going to have to move their start or their race date? This is going to be a thing.
Well, you know why it's an out and back this year, even though there's not a lot of snow?
I do not.
Our good friends at the U.S. Forest Service would not open a gate.
Oh. Interesting.
We have had many a discussion with U.S. Forest Service as DC Peaks race directors, and we actually have been very fortunate to have a really good relationship with them. But the U.S. Forest Service is governed by like different jurisdictions throughout the state. So those of you listening, Davis County and Weber County are actually two different U.S. Forest Service jurisdictions. And then there's Salt Lake, and then there's Utah County. So I don't know what they're like down in Utah County where this race takes place, Provo, but they apparently were like, nah, we're not opening the gate this year for your race that's been going for 30 years.
Whoa. That sucks.
So let's play race director. You are the race director of the SP50.
Send them.
Done. Okay. Next question. If you are the race director and last minute, because this could very well happen to us, we have multiple gates up Farmington Canyon that we deal with.
Yeah.
Last minute, they're like, in our case, it would be October. They're like, hey, we're closing the gates.
Right.
We have an alternate route that runs you down low, but you still get like 10,000 feet of climbing.
Yes, you do.
Through undulations and running, not necessarily climbing, but our course, you still get a lot of that. In Squaw Peak, I don't think they're going to, I mean, I think they'll hit 5. I mean, let's say they're going to be around.
But where are you getting that? You don't actually know.
I'm totally guessing. I just know that all that backside climbing, the back half where you climb up to, I think it's called like Windy Peak or something, that's all gone. So that's got to
That
be
signature climb at mile 40.
mile 40, 41. That's gone.
Oh, man. That was hard.
That's the hardest climb I've ever done in any race until Tahoe next week. But that climb,
was?
Oh, yeah. I still think of that as the toughest climb. Because it's
That's-
mile 40, which is the hottest, for me, hottest time of the day. And in a 50 miler, you're burning matches, right? Like you're redlining. I mean, at least I am. I'm redlining at
I'm
20,
redlining when I start.
Mick redlines when he gets out of bed.
Yeah. No, but it is. That's a tough climb.
Yeah, I'm going
And I
hard.
I only did half the race with you, So
and if you recall, we
yeah.
were running miles 30, 35, 38. That like backside, totally remote.
Beautiful.
It's all runnable, sweet runnable trail.
Rocky.
Up and down, little ungy. It's so fun to run. And we ran it hard.
Mm-hmm.
And then boom, you hit mile 40 and it's a mile. It's probably 1,000 feet in a mile straight up. And the sun is cooking you. That's why it was so hard for me is you're redlining for 40 miles. And the sun, I want to say for me is like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And you're smoked.
That is an interesting question. What is the hardest climb in any race you've done?
Yeah.
as a runner?
To me,
Open that to all of our listeners. Like
yeah.
people could say Baldy at Speed Goat,
Yep.
or there was a video of Chepe climbing in Hard Rock
Yes.
with ropes in snow. Like,
Mile 70 or something.
yeah, that's an interesting question.
Yeah. That climb at Squaw Peak, and I think I'm blanking the race director's name, but I'm pretty sure that on Strava, the name of that climb is his name or his initials or something.
Bo
Mm.
Bozeman Hill,
Bozung.
Bozung
You're
Hill.
right. That's right. It's called Bozung something. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's done like 500 marathons and
Yeah,
ultra marathons.
I've met him, but yeah.
Yeah, he's got his sweet little long goatee. Well, yeah, that climb, but you're right. It certainly competes with Baldy in Squap
Speed Goat.
in Speed Go. So you got Speed Go. I don't know. For me, it's just different because
You got your climbs that you did at Mogollon that you said were tough, up and down. You'd hurt 100, those crazy things.
mm-hmm. Maybe it's tattooed in my brain because the Squaw Peak 50 was the second and third 50 milers I ever did. So like
You had a little
before I ever did 100.
You had a little stress going on with you when we climbed that hill.
Yeah, there was a lot going on there. There's a lot.
You were 2 days before prison.
Yeah. 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Squaw Peak 50 miler 2016 was like 4 days before I go to prison. So yeah, that climb was hard.
Yeah.
It's a tough 50 miler. Rolling. Yeah, you paced me the whole back half of it.
Mm-hmm.
Leading into prison. That's wild conversation.
Yeah.
That's a whole podcast in itself. One of these days, maybe. So, back to our SP50 and the U.S. Forest Service.
Oh, what would I do?
Yeah, so if U.S. Forest Service decides, hey, a couple days before the race, hey, yo, Bozung, we're not opening the gate. And he's like, what are you talking about?
I would do what he's doing.
You got to reroute.
Yeah, I'm not canceling it. People train their ass off.
He's got 204 runners.
Uh-huh. I think, yeah, he made the right call.
You got to do what you got to do. And that's one of the cool things about ultra and the community and running. It's like, yep, weather, snow, river crossing. Sometimes you got to just change.
But what?
Who cares?
I'm curious, why did it have to be changed because they wouldn't open a gate? Get a horse. Is it because of an aid station, or were they saying like, no, these trails aren't approved?
I don't know what the U.S. Forest Service said, but
because if for our race, if they're like, we're shutting down Farmington Canyon, you could do your route, but we're not giving you access to that road. Now you have a real question. Are we going to figure out a way to get stuff up to the first and second aid stations? And third, oh my gosh. Or are we rerouting?
I mean, we would have to 100% reroute. That's half our race. If someone gets hurt or stranded or drops, no one can go pick them up. So it becomes a safety concern. So I'm guessing.
Well, no, you can go. I mean, just, I would never condone this. You just scooch around the gate.
You can't. Not the lower one.
Yeah.
So the assumption is made that the U.S. Forest Service won't open the gate because of snow and because of safety. So they're like, no, we're not doing it. There's snow on this part of the course or part of the road, and the vehicles can't cross safely. Let's just assume that's the case.
Yep.
What we know with U.S. Forest Service is it's very much dependent upon who the employee is in that position that year.
Yep, found that out.
We've found that out nearly every year because for 5 years now, as we've been working with Forest Service since 2019, we've had like 4 different people in that role just in our jurisdiction, or 3.
Yep.
And they all have different opinions about different topics, whether it's the trails you can use, when the gates open for spring, when they close. It's not just black and white. Yep, if there's 6 inches of snow or more, we're closing the gate. It's not that.
Government workers could be a judge. There's discretion.
Discretion, and it's very subjective to who's in that role, what their mood is, what the relationship is, and in this case, SP50 was like, yeah, we're not opening the gate for you guys.
Yeah, because they're just like, let's shut that down. We'll push people towards that fall 50 miler.
I think that's
Pretty sure that's what happened.
And we know the U.S. Forest Service, and we are like, hey, you guys probably.
I wouldn't open that. That's crazy dangerous. There's no snow.
I know
it could.
I know it's going to be 94 degrees on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's 90 degrees the next 3 days.
But we'll give you a 20% discount to sign up for DC Peaks.
Use this code now, SP50. Yeah. So, yeah, disappointing, disheartening. We've both heard from some runners that aren't thrilled, but guess what? They're going to go have a blast, and every day in the mountains is a blessing.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
They're going to love it.
He made the right call.
The race is going to be awesome. So I don't know much about the course. I do know a little bit about the runners. So some of these runners, I would say, I don't know if I can use the word stacked, but the field is tough to choose who we think is going to win, but we definitely have a watch list.
It's interesting.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
So, Mick, who's on your female watch list for the SP50 this weekend?
Okay. Let me go here. I definitely recognize some names.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. For the watch list, I am very interested in Andrea McAfee, DC Peaks Podium. I found it very interesting how close hers and other runners, their times were at Snow Peaks compared to our DC Peaks.
Give the listeners a rundown of, obviously mileage is 50 miles, but mileage and vert for SP50 and mileage and vert for DC Peaks.
DC Peaks runs a little long, depending on your watch, we've talked about this, around, call it 51.5 miles, 11,000 feet of climbing. Now, Squaw Peak, Snow Peak says 13,000 feet on their website. That's not true.
I don't think anyone's ever had 13.
Does it still say that?
I haven't looked.
That's not, I've never seen anyone's watch that said that. So, but their race say it's somewhere around 11,000.
Yeah, I think it's 10 and a half. 9.5.
Very, very close times to ours. Their Zach Gardner 7:42.
Yeah,
crushed it.
Last year, Zach Gardner. Mm-hmm.
And ours last year was Adam Loomis 7:41. All right, Andrea Snow Peaks last year 10:45, 10 hours 45 minutes. DC Peaks 10 hours 41 minutes 30 seconds. Very close.
So the question would be, last year was heavy snow out and back.
Oh.
SP50 was an out and back.
But a different out and back than this year?
Yeah.
Oh, that makes it difficult then, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't even know what the vert will be this year.
Mm-hmm. But keep
we
going,
could find last year.
Because the trend that you're on, I like it.
Okay. Someone else to watch. Lainey Markazich. This is her 8th running of Snow Peaks. That's experience there. And her times are good, depending on the year. Her best is a 10:23. It's hard for me to say, because in some years, 10:23, you podium.
Mm-hmm.
Does 10:23 have you podium this year? I have no idea. Is she a stronger climber versus the flat stuff? You have an Andrea Christensen. Maybe she's faster on the...
And she's raced this a bunch of times, too.
She podiumed last year.
Yeah, she's local to that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She's fast. So she's on Jennifer Lambert. Very experienced runner out of Lehigh, Utah.
She just took 3rd in Wasatch last year, I think.
She has a lot of tough races. She can certainly climb. Again, maybe that doesn't come into play this year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then Liz Butler.
A late entry.
Was she a late entry into DC Peaks last year?
I don't
I
remember.
feel like she was.
She might have been because she ran Wasatch. And
Yeah,
then she's like,
she
okay.
was. And then
Yeah.
she's always like, "Oh, I don't know. I don't have fresh legs. You know, I'll just come do what I can do." And then she comes out and wins and sets the course record.
She's the type of person who is always trained for a 50.
Oh yeah.
Always. She's just ready to go anytime.
Her dogs too. They're trained.
Her dogs are trained for 200s.
Yeah, they should actually probably sign up for a race.
They would crush it, dude.
Yeah,
Those
they'd
dogs
beat me.
have been everywhere. They don't need course markings either.
No. No.
Sniff it out.
So Liz is fast in every way, but she really excels on climbing. And I was going to pick her to win it. I guess I still will, but I have no idea if she's going to be climbing or if it's not, and then some of these speedsters pass her.
So,
but, but that's not, how is that? We got to pick.
I think if we knew more about each individual's runner and aspiration, like some of these runners, this could be their A race, and they're going freaking all out. They don't care if it's an out and back or a loop or whatever. This is their race. I do know that this is not Liz's A race. She signed up late to go get some miles on her legs, and she's going to follow it up with a big run Sunday. Like, she's not going out to win. So I'm going to put her on my podium. But my question is, without like a elite runner, like a Leah Yingling type runner, is it going to take a sub 10 to win the women's? I'm more interested in that than who wins. I'm like, because Liz, I think if she went for it, she's going sub 10 on that course. I think she'll come in around 10, 20, 10, 30, which is like right where I think Andrew will come into play. I think Jennifer, Laney, I think McAfee, Andrea, both Andreas like 10, 30, 10, 40. So I think we have a really good race between those five. And I know because from experience, when I raced, the Buffalo Run 50K this spring, I'm like, I'm not racing. And then I found myself in a race with like 8 miles to go. And I went hard.
Yeah, it's hard to just
let them pass.
Yeah,
You're like, oh, yeah, I'm just out here having fun. I have a hard time doing that. I don't know if Liz will do that, but I definitely am watching all of them, and I'm very interested in the time that it takes to win it.
Yeah, there's always somebody here that I'm like, never heard of that person, and they just smoke it. I'm like, oh, okay, welcome to the scene.
So this episode, we are going to pick our podium, a winner, and I think we're going to throw in a dark horse, someone that we've never really heard of, that we think this person is a dark horse to at least podium.
Ooh, I like it.
Okay. So give us our podium, and unless you just want to pick a winner.
I'm sticking. Listen, man.
You're picking Liz.
I am. I don't know what the course is going to bring. I don't know what her Sunday run looks like, but I know how strong she is.
Yep.
So I'm picking Liz Butler to win it.
Okay. I am going with local, very, very experienced local runner, Andrea Christensen. I like her to win it. I think she's primed to win it. I think she's got all the experience. And I think with the field that's there, I think she does it. And I think she does about a 10, sub 10, 20, maybe like a 10, 10, 10, 15, something like that.
Yeah, she can.
I think that wins it this year. My dark horse, I looked up a gal, Julie Dahl. She took 6th place just recently this spring in the Javelina 100K. It was a very fast course. And if the out and back I'm thinking of for SP this year is relatively fast, I like Julie to kind of come out of nowhere and podium.
Yeah, if it's that's what I'm saying. If that course is more her jam, that could be a problem for the climbers.
Yep. Okay, on to the men, where we are going to have a really hard time picking.
Yeah.
So give me a rundown of who we should be watching for.
For the names that popped out when I saw them, who is the most important? Mick
Duh.
Jornick.
Thank you for joining the show today,
Yeah,
everyone.
thanks for coming, guys. That Mick Jornick, Jose Cruz, Eli White. Did you see him? He's on there.
Yes.
There was who's the guy that won Wasatch?
Sean Smith.
Sean Smith. That dude is
Yep.
strong.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know how who do you pick to win out of that?
So Sean Smith wins Wasatch. What year did he win Wasatch? 22?
Last year was Chepe. He won it the previous year.
22. So we have the last two. We have the last two Wasatch 100 winners going toe to toe,
Yeah.
head to head. We have Eli White, who just 3 weeks ago won the Ogden Marathon. The month before that, Jose takes 2nd place in the Salt Lake Marathon
And crushed it on that Vegas one.
and runs like a So Eli White ran a 2:31 Ogden Marathon.
Oh, it's fast.
Chepe ran, I want to say did he go sub 240 in the Las Vegas, that marathon in Las Vegas?
I texted him. It's fast, whatever it was.
Whatever that mountain's called, you run Mount Charles. Yeah, I want to say sub 240. So those dudes are so fast. If I remember right, it was last year, 2023, Eli White was in his first 100 in the Wasatch 100. And of course, he was cruising.
Yeah, he
with
comes
Chepe.
out hot. Jose said that he was going up Bear Canyon so fast that Jose was like, I didn't like that pace.
Mhm.
I had to bring it back.
And he crumbled in the heat, and it just got to him, and he learned from that, I'm sure.
Yep.
But I think 50 miles might be the perfect distance for a dude like that.
He is going to be tough to beat.
I think Sean Smith, I think he doesn't have the wheels that Eli and Chepe have. Like just on a mile or a 10K or a marathon speed. I think those guys put some distance on him.
I don't know enough about him. I know that he can climb, and I know that when he got to miles 60, what is Brighton? Miles 62?
62. Mm-hmm.
He looked good.
Mm-hmm. And then all the climbing behind you at that point.
I mean, he looked good. They're still going to be in the mountains.
I'd like to see what Sean's marathon time is. That'd be interesting. Is he a 240 guy or a 250 guy? Big difference there.
And I don't know how much that's even going to come into play.
Yeah, I don't.
But I'll tell you this. I think he's on the podium.
That is my podium. My men's podium for the SP50. Sean Smith, Eli White, Jose Cruz.
I'm not arguing with you on that. I do like Mick Jornick. I don't know if he did Hard Rock in 30 hours.
Yeah, but I like Mick. He's probably the most experienced runner in the field on the men's that I saw. I mean, Hard Rock and all. I mean, he's got more under his belt than say Jose does as far as like just competitive races. But I see him doing this race in like 9 to 9.5 hours. He's not going to go 8.
Yeah, I like that podium. Do you know one time I put in for Wasatch 100, and they were doing the lottery, and I was listening to it I was on a run, and they said, you got in. You got in pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm running, and they're like, Mick. And I'm like, Jurnik. And I'm like, oh,
You.
thank God. No, I'm just kidding. My heart rate was through the roof. Yeah.
You
That
have
was
hated
funny.
him ever since.
I have. Yeah.
Yeah. He's top 10. He will go top 10.
Yeah.
For
I
sure.
like,
He's
okay.
top 10.
But now you got to pick a winner.
I don't know how I go against Jose.
I don't either. Damn it.
Yeah.
Hey, take him.
Why don't we both take him?
Nope.
Fine. My winner is Jose. That's who I'm picking to win the SP50 this weekend.
Okay. Me too.
Perfect.
No, I think in a 50 miler, I'm gonna roll Eli.
Dude, I was just gonna say they're buddies and they run together.
I don't like picking against any of them.
You know what I could see them doing? The old hold the hands.
Oh,
Can we get a quick take on that?
Have you seen them holding hands running?
Maybe. Later in the field or in the middle of the pack or end, that's cool. I think it's really cool. It brings you together. You probably shared some dark moments together. You spent some hours running together. What is your opinion if you are on the podium? Not even top 5, top 10, top 3.
Like, are you gonna race the last mile?
Yeah, are you racing that dude?
Or
are you holding his hand like, yay, we both
like
won together?
Killian and Jason Schlarp at Hard Rock. They touched the rock at the same time.
Yep.
You remember that?
Yep.
I'm never gonna win a race. So if I'm in that position, I'm sprinting.
I'm with you. Aren't we racing? We're racing, right? Like, this is a race. We signed up for a race. I'm down to share 30 miles with you, or 10 or 5. But if I can see the finish line and I'm right next to you,
You're gonna trip him, push him.
I'm probably throwing an elbow.
I'm biting.
I'm biting your ear.
Let's go.
I'm going Mike
Here
Tyson.
to win.
I mean, I would hope that you have the same mindset as me, because I want to beat the best. I want you to put me in the grave and freaking punish me in the last 100 meters.
Well, as a fan watching, I don't want to see that. I want to see the last mile or two, like you're duking it out.
Yes.
So I would rather see that.
So
I get it.
I don't.
It's like the honorable thing. We did this huge journey together. There's no like
It's definitely discussed,
gold medal.
right?
There's no money. It's just.
But like the two of them,
But I want to see him race.
at some point before the finish line, they're like, "Hey, you want to just jog it in?" Yeah, man, sure. Or no, dude, I'm going. All right, you asked for it. I would want to know if I actually beat you, or if you had more in the tank and you beat me in the final mile. I just want to know that.
Okay.
So it is possible, knowing we both know Eli and Jose, I could see them tying.
No, I'm texting Jose after this. Be like, don't even.
If you even think about tying. Okay, I'm taking Jose. You're taking Eli. Final answer.
Yep.
I got a couple guys on the watch list. Youngsters that you should keep your eye on. Stephen Glod. Looks like gold, but Glod. Stephen Glod. 22 years old. Very fast. First 50 miler. But the one I'm also really watching is Kimball Potter. Local dude to Kaysville. 27 years old. He's the dude I was racing in the last 8 miles of the Buffalo Run 50K in March.
Oh, you went and found him.
He just is racing.
No, I mean to know who he was.
No, we already follow each other on Strava. I knew who he was. I didn't recognize him in the race because I saw his back of his head for 25 miles.
Yeah.
You know. And that kid is fast, dude. I'm telling you, he's super fast. And he's young, way younger than Sean,
Yeah,
Eli, and Jose.
The young kids are smoking fast.
And
dude.
I think it's his first 50 miler. He ran Buffalo Run and he raced it. And he kind of bonked at the end when I passed him. So he's learned something about his nutrition. I think he's learned something. I think this is his first 50. So the guys going out on their first 50, if weather is right, they're not going to experience the letdown and the burnout. And they might be able to just hang with like an Eli and a Jose and just surprise them.
That you never know, right?
Yep. So Kimball Potter is my dark horse men's pick. He's the one my real dark horse men's pick, but this is going to be fun.
Very fun.
Are we going to go down there and
They show this live,
watch?
right?
It's live stream, live tracking.
I think so.
Sure isn't. But we're working on that.
Yeah. No, I'm not going down there.
Rude.
You are.
I was going to, but they closed the gate. So I can't.
True.
All right. The DC Peaks picks are in for this weekend's SP50. Our men's podium, women's podium, our winners, and our dark horses. Thank you for listening. This has been the Next Aid Station Podcast.